Hello everyone and welcome to this week's newsletter. As parents and teachers, we are shepherding young people through a time of great uncertainty. We can rationalise and be grateful for our situation by concluding that we're better off in Geelong than Melbourne, in Victoria than New South Wales, and better off in Australia than in many other parts of the world. Being rational and grateful is important, but nevertheless, it can still be difficult for us to remain upbeat and positive in our current context. The world has changed with the arrival of COVID, and none of us can be certain exactly what this means in the long term. Many things will return unchanged, and some things will return changed, and some things won't return. This uncertainty is particularly difficult for our young people, and they need reassurance from us as their parents and teachers. Listening to how they are feeling, acknowledging their feelings of loss and confusion, and being open about our own concerns, including what we're doing to keep ourselves well and forward-looking, are all important. It's particularly unhelpful for us to remain stoic and pretend that we're unaffected ourselves. Among the many changes imposed on our students is the necessity of expanding their learning repertoire to include the ability to learn remotely. Most students coped reasonably well with the early iterations of remote learning. However, many have found it difficult to maintain their enthusiasm and engagement as the novelties worn off. Elsewhere in the written newsletter this week, Mark Kennedy and Lisa Pope have provided some important guidelines to help students operate effectively in remote learning. It seems highly likely that at some stage we'll be asked to shift back to remote learning, so I encourage you to go through this advice with your son and help and encourage him to implement these guidelines. While we remain at school, we're guided by our COVID-safe plan. The core elements of this are wearing a mask, correctly fitted at all times, maintaining social distancing where possible, and basic hygiene and hand sanitising measures. Our teachers report enormous difficulty having students consistently comply with the expectations regarding masks. We all know they're uncomfortable and none of us enjoy wearing them, but they are really important. It's becoming increasingly clear that vaccination and mask wearing are the two most important elements in maintaining a safe environment, particularly here at school. We expect that vaccination will become available to secondary age students in coming months, and in line with scientific and medical advice, we'll be strongly encouraging everybody in the St Joseph's School community to access vaccination as early as possible. In the meantime, we'd appreciate your support in emphasising to your son the importance of wearing a mask correctly at all times, particularly when at school. At St Joseph's, we take pride that every college event is organised thoroughly and well in advance. With the current restrictions and the knowledge that these can change quickly, this is enormously difficult. We're currently planning multiple scenarios for each event and are leaving a final decision on each event, both whether it can run at all and under what restrictions, until as late as possible. And I'd like to apologise for any additional uncertainty that this creates for students and families. I'm pleased to report that important infrastructure developments are progressing well. The ground floor of the Peter Chanel Centre is progressing on time, and we expect to have occupancy next month. The site setup has commenced for the construction of change and toilet facilities on Carey Oval, a long overdue improvement. We expect completion of that project early in the new year. And finally, the college also recently purchased the property in Leslie Lane behind our Heritage Centre and adjacent Zampatti Oval. While there are no immediate plans for this property, the long-term strategic purchase completes the current college footprint. So stay well, everyone, and God bless.